Flipped his car on 13th Avenue South in Fargo. Take a look at what first responders pulled up to right around 11 last night.
The car hit a couple of trees near 14th Street, then overturned and landed on its roof. Now, one of our viewers says the man in the car had to be extricated from the vehicle because of the damage, but that man did not appear to be badly injured. Also breaking overnight, a scare at a South Fargo apartment building. People reported flames coming from a deck in the 4700 block of Timber Parkway just before midnight.
Fire crews put the fire out quickly and then started looking for the cause through the debris. No one was hurt. Damage looks to be contained to that one unit. We're taking a live look now at the south end of Restaurant Row in downtown Fargo. Crew members at bars and restaurants across North Dakota are making more space today for more people. Starting in about an hour, bars and restaurants can increase occupancy to 80%, up to 300 people.
Banquet, ballrooms, and event venues can increase to 75% of capacity. The changes are possible because Governor Doug Burgum moved the state from moderate to low risk earlier this week after a drop in active COVID cases.
Let's get a check now of our weekend forecast, and we check in with meteorologist Summer Schnellbach. And already it's a pretty nice Friday.
Yeah, not starting our weekend off to a bad start. We do have a little bit of reduction in visibility due to an abundance of moisture in our atmosphere being brought up by the southeasterly winds. So visibility is down to 1.3 miles in Valley City at this hour, 3 miles in Devil's Lake and Gwinner, 6 miles in Jamestown, 7 in Fargo and in Fergus Falls. Clear skies up across northern Minnesota and the northern Red River Valley. Right now in Fargo, you can see some of those low-hanging clouds. That visibility report was out at the airport, so just on the outskirts of town. But here in town, it's 20 degrees, feels like 7 as we're waking up on this Friday morning, thanks to those east-southeasterly winds at 14 miles per hour. In Grand Forks, the Northern Valley, 18 degrees, feels like 5. Sunrise just before 8 o'clock at 7:59. On satellite and radar this morning, you can see all the cloud cover across eastern North Dakota, clearer up across the extreme northern Red River Valley and across much of northern Minnesota. But turn your eyes down towards Lakes Country, Detroit Lakes, Fergus Falls. The droplets are super tiny, so we can't really see it being picked up on satellite and radar, but there have been reports of freezing drizzle, making for some slippery roadways. Your hourly planner today in Fargo, we're going to hang on to the clouds throughout the entire day, but our temperatures will be rising into the 20s. Not a bad start to our weekend. It will be breezy though. Winds out of the southeast increasing, sustained in the teens with gusts into the 30s later on. And in Grand Forks today, temperatures also rising into the 20s by around that lunchtime hour. Stepping out the door early this morning, most of us under cloudy skies with that fog across eastern North Dakota and the Southern Valley. Winds gusting into the 20s early this morning, and we'll continue to see an increase in the winds for the second half of our day. Temperatures by lunchtime mostly in the teens and 20s, and we stay really steady as we head into the evening commute time, and temperatures remaining likely in the teens and 20s throughout the overnight period before snow chances increase heading into our Saturday. Here we are, 4:50 Saturday evening. Spotty chances for some snow increasing as we head into the evening hours of Saturday, with the main area of accumulation across northwestern Minnesota, particularly our easternmost counties. We could see up to 3 inches of snow, but more snow on the way for Thursday and Friday, already declared first alert weather days. So 2 rounds of snow. The first one Saturday into Sunday. On Wednesday is our next chance of a potential major winter storm setting up in the northern plains. We'll start to see that snow in the afternoon of Wednesday, and snow and wind increasing throughout the day Wednesday and right into Thursday. Thursday also a first alert weather day, Jordan and Lisa, due to winds gusting over 40 miles per hour along with heavy snow and wind, making for some tricky travel. But temperatures over the next several days, all in the 20s.
Looking very nice, especially for the end of January into February.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Pretty good weather. Thank you, Summer. We have new information on the trial for one of the former officers charged in the death of George Floyd. It could be delayed, possibly now for months. Right now, jury selection for the trial of Derek Chauvin is set to start March 8th, but late yesterday, prosecutors filed an appeal to the Minnesota Court of Appeals asking for the Chauvin trial to be delayed because of the COVID pandemic.
The prosecutor is also asking the appeals court to overturn the decision to try Chauvin and the 3 other officers separately. Chauvin is the officer seen on camera with his knee on George Floyd's neck. Prosecutors continued the COVID argument they made earlier this month in an affidavit from U of M infectious disease expert Michael Osterholm.
In that affidavit, Osterholm says holding a trial in March 2021 will be particularly dangerous because the new, more contagious variant of the coronavirus will likely be here at the time. Joe Timberino is a criminal defense attorney not affiliated with the case, but skeptical about whether this appeal could succeed.
By arguing COVID, the state is also basically saying that the court has to take consideration of factors outside of the courtroom that have nothing to do with the trial. Again, that's highly unusual. You never see that kind of an argument when the state is trying to appeal a pretrial order.
Chauvin's attorney has argued for delays in the trial, citing issues with the prosecution's handling of exhibits. The judge had denied those motions. We may know as soon as next week whether the Minnesota Court of Appeals will accept that appeal.
North Dakota lawmakers are trying to honor first responders who die in the line of duty by protecting their family members and extending their health benefits. A new bill being discussed would allow surviving spouses and dependent children of peace officers, patrolmen, correctional officers, and firefighters to continue receiving health benefits. The bill was introduced by Representative Zachary Ista of Grand Forks, whose community suffered the loss of police officer Cody Holte in May of last year.
A more contagious variant of the coronavirus, first discovered in South Africa, has now been detected in South Carolina. The state's health officials say 2 cases have been identified and there is no known travel history or connection between the 2 patients. The news makes them the first known cases of this particular strain in our country. Officials say the current authorized vaccine appears to be effective against the new strain, but they stress that we all need to continue to be vigilant about COVID protection. Meanwhile, the CDC says North Dakota is leading the nation in getting the vaccine into arms, but state health officials say that doesn't mean the supply is currently running low.
They say the state is receiving a constant flow on a week-to-week basis. If there is a reduction in vaccine allocations, the state would notify providers immediately to slow down and plan to vaccinate fewer people.
Until we get further down into that priority group, I think that we will always have a demand, and I think that's a good thing. I think that it shows that people are starting to take the vaccine serious and think it's a safe and effective way to stop the spread of COVID.
At this point, the state is being notified 3 weeks in advance about how many vaccines they can expect.
North Dakota's House has killed a bill that would make mandating wearing a mask at work illegal. Lawmakers are dealing with several bills regarding mask mandates.
It would have allowed workers to opt out of a mask requirement with a doctor's note or a religious objection. 75% of lawmakers opposed the idea because of what they say were fundamental problems. A new campaign is now urging people to get outside this winter, but in a safe way.
The Greater Minnesota Regional Parks and Trails Commission is launching its Mask Up and Mask Out initiative. They're encouraging people to go outside and explore Minnesota parks and trails. But they're asking you to do so with the mask on and with COVID safety in mind. Officials say not only will the mask keep you safe from COVID-19, it will also keep your face warm. A Frazee, Minnesota man is warning others about a suspicious letter that he and his neighbors received in the mail. And that prompted him to reach out to our whistleblower hotline. Clayton Brenner says it looked like a tax document labeled important with a deadline date to respond.
The letter claims you may qualify for a state-regulated program to pay for your funeral expenses, but they want a lot of personal information, and that guy thought it was a little fishy. We found out this is from a Georgia marketing firm intended to sell your info to a company that then sells funeral services. Heads up today if you're driving near downtown Fargo. The city is shutting down some traffic lanes for building construction. Now starting today, 1st Avenue North will be down to 1 lane in each direction between 10th and 11th Streets.
Eastbound traffic will be shifted into the center of 1st Avenue, so crews will have room to work. The closure is expected to be in place just for today. This weekend's boat show will mark one of the first large gatherings in nearly a year at the Fargo Dome. They're expecting thousands through the doors over the 3-day event.
Face masks are required, and there will be a large amount of hand sanitizer as well. They're also widening the aisle to support social distancing.
It is also the responsibility of those who choose to come to the boat show. We'd love to have you here, but we want you to act responsibly. And by all means, if for some reason you wake up in the morning, you know to come, but you feel off, maybe it's better to stay home that day.
And if you forget a mask, the Fargo Dome will have extras available. The boat show starts today at noon and runs through Sunday.
In our consumer alert this morning, vacations are on the comeback. Time off may be back on Americans' calendars later this year, especially if vaccines help suppress the COVID pandemic.
The American Hotel and Lodging Association says 56% of Americans are likely to travel for leisure in 2021, but 48% say their willingness to travel is tied to vaccination in some way. By comparison, business travel is not expected to return to 2019 levels until at least 2023 or 2024.
We now want to get the answer to our question of the morning on Facebook. That question for you today. 96% of us buy at least one of these every month.
Oh, this is true at the Badeau House. The answer, a pizza.
I think we buy one of those a week.
Yeah, you have to have pizza night at least once a week. The Today Show and CBS This Morning are just about to start, but the Valley Today rolls on. Join us right now for more live up-to-the-minute news and weather on the Fargo CW. So, is Nate coming this weekend?
Mm-hmm. Yes, he is, even though tomorrow